Who doesn't absolutely love that huge guitar tone with tons of reverb and tons of delay? And what better to complement that sound than a pair of Filtertron pickups? First and foremost, let's ask the question of how Filtertrons are going to be different than a traditional humbucker pickup. And even though these are considered humbuckers in themselves, they're two single coils put together, they're quite a bit different if we actually go in and we take a look at these pickups. So first and foremost, what we are going to end up seeing is, compared to your traditional humbucker, your Filtertron pickups are going to be quite a bit smaller in their overall size. I'll grab my Sir here in a second and we'll kind of compare. And then you also see something where you've got exposed magnets, and then the overall magnets are going to be quite a bit bigger than like your traditional magnets on a humbucker. You're going to have a lower overall output, and all of those things are going to help to contribute to that unique Filtertron sound where you're going to have really prominent mids and a really clear and crisp high end. Now, like I said, let's go ahead, let's look at these kind of side by side so we can compare. And as you can see over here on my Sir, the overall humbucker is going to be quite a bit bigger. Like I was saying earlier, with these Filtertron pickups, you're going to have a lot more clarity and definition in those mids and then that high end. And one really good way that I've heard it described is you have all of the warmth of a PAF style humbucking pickup, but all of the clarity and the definition of a single coil. Now, this brings me to my next question, which is, why do I think that these pickups are so good for praise and worship? Just like you heard at the beginning of this video, typically with praise and worship music, you're gonna have a guitar tone that needs to be able to withstand a ton of reverb, a ton of delay, stacking on multiple overdrives, and still maintaining a lot of definition and clarity. And this is where I think Filtertrons have a really unique advantage. Because of that pushed mid-range and all of the information that's in the high end, when you start to stack on really warm reverb and delays and overdrives, you're giving the guitar and your amp and your overall signal chain a ton of information to work with, where a lot of other pickup types would end up getting washed out and muddy in comparison. Let's start by taking a listen to just a huge swell tone from my Kemper amp and then the middle position on this guitar. So just like you heard there, even though I've got a tremendous amount of reverb and delay, you still have a lot of clarity and high end. Now, one thing about these pickups too is it doesn't just stop there. When they're cleaned up and you pull back all that saturation, all that reverb, you still get a really awesome tone. So if I bounce over to the neck position here and we do something a little bit more chordy, here's kind of what we're working with. Even on that neck position, which tends to be super dark and oftentimes gets muddy really fast, you still have a lot of clarity. And I think that's what we're going to find with these pickups, is because of that unique sound signature that you can really only find from Filtertron pickups, where instead of the traditional scooped profile, you actually have the opposite, where it's pushed mids and more information in the high end. Now, something else that I think is super important when it comes to these types of pickups is their ability to still cut through the mix. And with a lot of praise and worship music, you're going to have really soaring lead lines, those really powerful lead lines. If you think about songs like Resurrection from Elevation Worship or a lot of Phil Wickham stuff, you're going to have a really prominent lead line at the intro or throughout the middle of that song. So if we switch over and we go into our bridge position, we can kind of hear what that sounds like. sure I played that lead line right. I did that from memory, so I think I messed it up. But you kind of get the idea where you've got a really prominent lead line, tons of reverb, tons of delay, and it still cuts really nicely in the mix. In a live setting, typically a guitar, if you are really bass and boom heavy, you're going to get drowned out by the keys, the bassist, or the drums. If you're too much on the high end, you're going to be competing for those frequencies with your vocalists, the rhythm guitarist. And so being somewhere kind of right in that mid frequency range for a guitarist is really what's going to help you cut through super nicely. Now, if you aren't convinced yet, I did a little bit of research to kind of find out what the guitarists that are making this music typically play. And this isn't to say you have to play this type of pickup. Play what inspires you, play what you like. This is just my personal opinion and why I think these fit really, really nicely within that praise and worship world. But obviously this isn't your only option out there. However, if we go in and we look at a few examples, one that I quickly found, Nigel Hendroff from Hillsong plays through a Gretsch Penguin. So that's going to have your, I believe, TV Jones classics in there. If not, it's the high fidelity ones from Gretsch. Then from there, we've got James Duke and Michael Pope from Bethel. Both have a Filtertron equipped guitar as well. Jeffrey Cundy from Jesus Culture plays through a Filtertron equipped guitar. Landon Gotch from Elevation Worship. And all of these different examples, and there's probably a ton more, and obviously they have other guitars as well, but this kind of gives you an insight into the world of guitars and what some of these musicians that are creating the music that we're playing on Sundays play. Hopefully this quick video was helpful for you. Please like, please subscribe. I am on a mission to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so please be sure support the channel in that way and check out the affiliate links down below. Thanks so much.